हो गया स्टार्ट यूट्यूब की देख लेना. Hello, hi everybody. Let me know if you can hear me or not, and so I'm just waiting. Perfect. So I guess we are live now. Just testing my voice, and today's discussion is going to be about how practically do you prepare your resume for placement preparation. So let's just go ahead. Okay, perfect. Hi Abhi, hi Krishna. I'm just waiting for all the people to join and then we'll go ahead. Right. So let's just start. In the meantime, I'll just tell you a few things in the meantime when people are joining. So first thing is, for all the hiring updates, make sure that you follow us on our Instagram, Discord, WhatsApp, Telegram. We are posting more than 35 plus hiring updates. So we have different Instagrams for different batches. So if you're 2025 batch, there's a separate Instagram for you. If you're 26 batch, if you're 27 batch, there's a separate Instagram for you. So make sure that you go to these links. The links are also in the description. So you will get hiring updates. Make sure that you follow us on at least Instagram and WhatsApp, because that is where we send hiring updates. Because just this month, Flipkart will be hiring and doing an off-campus drive. There's something called as Flipkart Grid, via which Flipkart will hire off-campus first, and then they will do all the on-campus rounds, right? And then again, same for Cisco. Cisco has an Ideathon which will happen this month. So, you know, for all of these hiring drives, 20, 30 plus hiring drives we post every month, because most of these companies have realized that, you know, we don't want to visit campuses. It's very difficult to visit 100 different campuses every year. And they just have come across to a conclusion of that it's easier to hire off campus. So they hire off campus through all the 1000, 2000 colleges out of India, and then only visit 20, 30 colleges which are like tier 1, tier 2 colleges that they are partnered with, right? So make sure that you follow us here. And again, as always, PrepInsta Prime subscription is basically, you get all the 200 plus courses under one subscription, all of these data science. And by the way, we have launched the Gen AI course just recently. We'll also talk about that a little. This is how the Prime subscription looks, right? And use the coupon code Atulya to get 20% off, right? And let's move ahead to the resume part. So last Saturday or last Friday, when I came for how do you start your placement preparation, most of the people were asking, okay, that is fine, but the step one of that placement preparation is your resume. I know, because you've not prepared everything yet, or probably you don't have enough certifications, or you don't have enough projects, so you'll not have a lot to write. But from here, we will get an idea on what do you need to prepare. One. Second thing is, when you get all of these tasks done, how do you create it? So first, I'm going to show you a resume template, which is bad. So if your resume looks like this, bad. So again, career objective, nobody wants to read this. Try reading this. Would you read all of this? I can zoom this also a little. Would any sane person read all of this? No, they will not. You've taken too much space for Bachelor of Engineering Technology. It looks like a 10th class kid person has made it. Here are personal details, mother's name, father's name, right? If you're taking somebody's interview, you're hiring them for, this is not a biodata that you're sending it for. Let's say you're getting married and you are sending it to your future wife or the girl that you're seeing to, you know, impress or something like this, right? No, I would not care what's your father's name. I would not care what are your hobbies. I don't care what's your date of birth, right? Anyways, background check, everything will happen, and there we will get to know. Maybe language is a little, but if it was a sales profile. So this is an example of a bad resume. If your resume looks something like this, avoid it. And I'll tell you a good resume templates and what all and how to write all of these things here. So same thing goes by. This is also an example of bad resume. What happens exactly is, and why we are still seeing such examples of bad resume is, what happens is, you ask your senior, okay sir, or let's say somebody who's 1 year senior to you, who's gotten placed somehow, share me your resume and share me the Google Doc file. Now 1 year, 2 year, it is fine, but what has been happening is, from the last 10-15 years, the same resume template has been passed on for generations. कि भैया लोगों ने दे दिया, and then now that's being followed. multiple number of years. So this looks like a somebody made it on Google, or not even Google Doc, Google Word, like Microsoft Word file. So example of bad resume, I'll not talk about, you know, let's say, or we can even talk about projects, etc., etc., but I don't want to focus upon here, just superficial things that this is example of bad resume. Same thing, looks ugly, bad resume. However, this looks nice, but still a bad resume. Why? Because it doesn't look serious. It looks as if you're a 10th class or 6th class person and then you want to get a chocolate from your interviewer. No. The content in this resume is good, but this almost looks like kiddish resume. So primarily this is not how a resume should look like. This is how, and I'll talk about content a little later, and I'll zoom in wherever you want to read all of these things a little later. But this is how your resume should look like. It should look boring. You can see here, it should look a little boring. If you look here, the name, the email ID, everything, just this much space, That's the area of personal information. But if you look at this, look, so big area for personal information. Here to personal information, a separate page itself is here. So again, a bad example of a resume. Your resume should look a little bit of boring. Again, don't add, so one person could have also done this, that okay, languages, then one.c++, then DSA, then oops, then JavaScript here. So basically till here you would have your just languages and then technology. So the length will increase. Your resume should ideally be 1 page at max. Maybe 1.5 pages, but that also I would not recommend. But if you have too many things for you to write in your resume, that's totally fine. So an example of a good resume, and take a screenshot of this also if you want. This is an example of a good resume. The content is also very good, but we'll talk about the content a little later, right? So again, same resume, but again to zoom in, I had to show the bottom part. So bottom part here it is. Same thing, a good resume. In fact, let me zoom this a little. An example of a good resume. Looks boring, as you can see on the right hand side, right? Perfect. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so the second part of this resume again looks something like this. Okay, again boring. Now before talking about what content to put, in the last slide also, or last time when I came live, I just wanted to share some example of, and when I came last live I shared this again, but I want to reiterate upon the same thing. So if you look here, this is 5-6 years back when TCS used to hire on campus, and then they used to have candidate evaluation form which was physical printed paper. Now they've moved their whole process online. Now obviously they are not filling up like a A4 sheet paper wherein everything like this is printed. Now there's a website wherein they go and give you marks. But earlier what was happening when this was a physical print, they basically were entering your CTDT number, and then after the interview, recommended for Ninja profile, digital profile, none, they will tick mark. Now there is one more profile called as Prime, and then rating scale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they will tick mark like this, right? The reason I know this is because PrepInsta is partnered with TCS and other 300 for 400 plus company. You don't know, but most of the time it is us as a third party interviewing you, because again TCS, it becomes very costly to TCS to send its own employees, so they outsource their interviews to a third party like us and others. Right. So if you look here, this is where they are assigning marks, and I just want to focus here. From this we will understand what all things to put in the resume, and then I will go back to the resume wherein we will see where to put it. So if you see here, TCS is giving 5 marks to subject knowledge, but if you look at subject knowledge, they are saying core branch technical knowledge, programming skill, project work. This is basically 5 marks out of 50, out of 100, I guess. Core branch technical knowledge, so let's say if you're EC, EEE, CSE, mechanical, they will ask something a little bit about your branch, because that's something that you've learned about it, but not too much, right? Programming skills, so they will ask you basic questions about C, C++, Java, Python, maybe a little bit of basics program from, let's say, top 100 codes. PrepInsta top 100 codes, again Bible for coding. This is how you should start your placement preparation, right? And so basically this is where they will be asking questions from. And then project work. So if you made some mini projects, not major projects, if you made some mini projects. So this is basically the first part. Now if you look at the second part, 5 marks and again 5 marks. Coding techniques, optimization techniques, DSA and competitive coding. So they are giving, basically they'll ask you coding questions about a little bit of difficult coding questions, optimization techniques, DSA and competitive coding. So you should know this. This is what TCS is saying. Obviously for Ninja role, the level of difficulty of the questions would be a little lower. For Prime, which is an 11 LPA profile by TCS, and Digital, which is a 7.5 LPA profile, this would be a little difficult. And same thing. So I want for you to understand the logic for any company that's hiring. This is an example for TCS, but any particular XYZ company also we look for, they will also be giving marks from the same psychology. So Amazon also would be thinking from a same psychology. Their also hiring pattern or rating pattern will almost be very similar. Now here, this is where things change a little. So if you look here, again another 5 marks for additional competency, and you can take a screenshot of this also if you want. Knowledge of database, SDLC, system design, others as per student's choice, 5 marks. SDLC, even if you are working as a data scientist, as a tester, as a full stack developer, as a generative AI engineer, as a backend developer, you will always be interacting with databases, and TCS does not, or any particular company, even if it's a product based company offering 40 LPA role, or a service based company offering 5 LPA, 3 LPA, 4 LPA, 10 LPA role, they will obviously be asking you SDLC, even if you're an EC student, mechanical, civil, IT, CSE, because at the very end of the day, they are hiring coders. So SDLC and database, database, which is why SDLC is because software development, for example, Big Bang, black box testing, then you have waterfall model, agile, etc., etc., right? So basically 5 marks. But this is where I want to focus more important. All the above. So basically they said your coding knowledge, your DSA knowledge, your subject knowledge, we are giving 5 marks only. 5 plus 5 plus 5. Just this thing they are giving 20 marks. Now what is this? This is knowledge of one digital skill, mandatory. Basic knowledge, real world applications, possible code demo, possible code review. So they are saying first though you should have certificate, first you should have a skill in a digital skill, not like .NET or Java or Python. These are old technologies. Some new skill like blockchain or let's say data science, generative AI, machine learning, full stack in a framework, full stack in Angular, Vue or React, not just that, okay, I know HTML, CSS, JavaScript, right? That's basically not a digital skill to them. And then they are saying, okay, we will review your code for us to give you these 20 marks. We will review your code. It's not as if that you've just put this in your resume. They will ask you that open up your laptop, show me the code. And this is where most people are unable to clear their interviews. Why? Because they did this in their first year and they don't have the code. It is, the system got formatted, or if that's basically with a friend. So very important, we'll talk more about this a little later, right? And possible code review, possible demo also, that show me the code, somewhere play the code, or let's say wherever the website is hosted, right? So let's quickly go back and review let's say here. If you look here, yeah. So I've zoomed in perfectly. I hope that all of you can see. This person has done a front-end development project. He's mentioned all the tech stack as separate, that React, Tailwind, CSS, Firebase, Firestore, OpenAI API, and then code, and then explained about in a pointer. So the user, if let's say, and let's review, this. Project robot dustbin using Arduino. Pehli baat to first thing, it should be Arduino, but the spelling is incorrect. how would I understand what are the languages, C, C++, Java, Python, what are the frameworks, what were the hardware components that you've used? I don't get to know anything. So bad resume. Here also, if I look, same thing. The software is used, blah, 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 but at least good thing is language Java, operating system MySQL. So basically at least they've mentioned language, but it's not a cool project because nowhere the student has mentioned that okay, I've used digital skills, digital technologies, but there's no link, and in fact this is where I want to focus. If you see here, and let me come zoom this here, code, live and demo video. What this person has smartly done is, that person has explained the frameworks that they've used, the languages, or let's say the third party components, explained about it, and here they've given an option that okay, click upon this and look at my code. That code is probably hosted on, let's say, GitHub. Now this is where the difference between somebody who gets a job and doesn't get a job comes. Maybe you're not very good with English, right? But this will make the difference, right? So maybe it's hosted on GitHub or wherever else, right? Maybe let's say you've just probably pasted the file on a notepad and hosted it on a Google Drive or etc. Wherever it could be. It depends upon different kind of projects. Or maybe it's if it's a machine learning, artificial intelligence projects, maybe you uploaded this on Google Collaboratory if you're not using Jupyter, or maybe you've hosted again on GitHub. Second thing is live. Live is, let's say you made a website. The code you have pasted on code area here, so it goes to GitHub. But live actually is where you can see the website live. Maybe you bought a domain, integrated the domain, managing the server. So let's say you will have a domain address. If not, then you'll host on, let's say, Netlify or Vercel or all of these free servers wherein you can upload your projects. So somebody can click upon here and actually interact with your project. If it's a project about, let's say, as a front-end website or something like, maybe you've made mini Flipkart or mini Amazon. So I can go here, let's say, add items to the cart, or let's say if it's a machine learning project, upload my image and it tells me that okay, I am, let's say, Indian, because let's say the project that you made is ethnicity detector, that okay, somebody is Latino, somebody is Indian, somebody is South Asian, somebody is Chinese. You just upload a photo and it will tell you. Maybe you use OpenCV, etc. Third thing that the user has also mentioned is the demo video here, and let me zoom this a little. Demo video also. So this is a video of, for example, just like how you're seeing me, this is a video of you explaining your code base, explaining your logic, and it's uploaded on YouTube or Vimeo or anywhere. This is where, so a lot of people also make this mistake. So maybe in your second year, first year, third year, you may have applied to big companies. Let's say you applied to Microsoft, applied for Google, applied for Cisco, for internships, and you will never ever hear back. Or you may have heard back, then it's good, then hopefully you don't need to watch this video if you've interned in those big companies. But then you would always wonder that people from IITs, NITs or great colleges, how do they get internships in all of these big companies, and I don't. But the company itself has posted an internship on their official website where I applied. I don't know about others, but I never heard back from them. But I'll tell you, these companies are hiring at least, so let's say if Microsoft hires 1,000 freshers every year, typically they will hire 1,000 people in their first, second, third year as summer interns for 3 months. Why? Because when the HR is, so when you apply, the HR actually goes through and looks at the resume, and the HR is not a techie. But the HR has somehow created their own self rules, is that obviously somebody who has this is much better than somebody who has just this. Because the HR is now able to actually see, they don't understand the code, but they have come to a conclusion of that this is better. This is much better. First, tech stack, at least HR knows, because they're hiring developers, so at least they know React.js, Tailwind, etc. At least from a, how do I tell you, at least from a, okay, for this hiring as a front-end developer, these are 10 tools or somebody who's, let's say, not mentioned Flutter, I don't want to hire them because my company uses Flutters, for example, right? So basically this. So this is very, 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 very important, and which is why if we go back here, you look just on digital skills, possible code review, possible demo working of the project, they are giving 20 marks. Now, how do you do all of this? Let's say if as a student, you have not done all of those, you have not made projects. So then I don't say go to PrepInsta Prime, I'll say pick up any good course, individual course, let's say it could be Great Learning, Upgrad, Simply Learn, etc., Coding Ninjas, or it could be PrepInsta Prime. With PrepInsta Prime, you have a benefit that you just pay once and get access to everything. But let me just very quickly show it to you. So let's say if you do all of these, in fact, let me just go back here. So if you don't have those good projects, on PrepInsta Prime, we specifically have a section of approximately 200 plus projects, 200, 300 projects that you can do. So as you can see here, these are cool, amazing, very sexy projects that you can do and put in your resume if you don't have all of those. For example, Spotify clone music, right? So this is one way you can do it. And otherwise, as you get access to all the 200 plus courses, so obviously you get access to our Gen AI, data analytics, AI, ML. If you are doing full stack, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, full stack, MongoDB, etc. and then popular languages, comparative coding, DSA, etc. So practically basic stuff, right? So basically this is the first part of it. Now I want to keep this video short and not waste too much time. If you look here in the next part, just let's try to focus here. Certifications. They are giving 5 marks earlier, but just for certifications they are giving 10 marks. Knowledge about the domain, real world applications, check if really learned something or not, possible code review and possible demo of working project. Now these companies are saying, here they were checking if you have skills or not. Same thing. But specifically they have mentioned certifications. Why? Now I'll tell you an example. So my younger brother, he works in KPMG, and from the last 2 years, he's been working in KPMG as a generative AI engineer. Now, from his current project, he got a project for another company called as Mastercard. So KPMG obviously as an outsourcing company gets all of these projects. Now KPMG or Mastercard gave him another system. He had its own laptop, but he now carries 2 laptops, but 1 laptop from KPMG, one is something that Mastercard has given to him, that only and only you will work upon this laptop and you will download software here only because data protection, because Mastercard is a big company working on financial card data. So again, anything can get leaks, and let's say something gets leaks or some code vulnerability, let's say file gets sent to some server, etc. So billions and billions of somebody can hack it, right? So practically from data protection reason. But just apart from the project, from the laptop, they did not even share the password of the laptop until he did not get a certification. So with KPMG, there is a certain company, other company, wherein they are certification partner for that company. He's been working as a data scientist, as a generative AI engineer from the last 3 years. But just 2 months back, they were like, no, get this certification only and only from a certified partner, then only we will allow you to touch our code. So 3 months, the company asked him, paid him salary also to get those certificate, to get that certification. And then after 3 months, he had the laptop but had to attend mandatory training for 3 months. The company does this because they don't want amateurs to work upon the code. They want people who are certified because they will take exams, then only they will give certifications. So this is very, very important. Companies need to have certification partners. So which is why if you are pre-certified, then the company gives you more marks and hires you on priority. So this is very important. Now, you will say, okay, sir, what if about that certification partner only? No, they don't worry about it. You can do from a reputed organization. One, personally, companies don't care about NPTEL certification. You can throw that in the dustbin. Coursera and Udemy. These 3 certifications, if you are putting, actually doesn't matter, because you understand, all of us know Neptel, Coursera and Udemy certifications are basically bad. Why? Because the quality of the course is shit. Practically. There are no projects. They just only teach you the theory. In Neptel, whatever your college professor is teaching, same thing Neptel person is also teaching in their course. There are no cool projects, right? There are no, let's say you're not making any in that, after you do that course, let's say you've not made any big website. Let's say it could be Amazon or it could be, let's say, Netflix. And in that Netflix, you've hosted it on an AWS server, you've done the whole back-end admin panel, front-end panel, you've also done the AI ML part of, let's say, movie suggestion algorithm, everything. So approximately 300 hours of videos just for one project is something that's missing here. The course itself is 50-60 hours. So practically from a reputed organization, I don't say do with PrepInsta Prime. You can also do with PrepInsta Prime. That's something, again, we are partnered with multiple companies. They also hire from us. But it could be Great Learning, Upgrad, Simply Learn, Scalar, Coding Ninjas, but reputed one, at least not the three that I named, Coursera, Neptel and Udemy. Okay. So if you look here, and I will try to figure out, I'm not sure if that person has put in. So they've put in their experience, etc. Okay. So I'm not able to figure out, but let's say put up a section called as certification here. These are the certifications that you've done. So practically, this is one thing that you should be very importantly focusing upon. Now let's review the resume one by one each of those things. First thing, phone number. Click upon my LinkedIn. Update your LinkedIn. We can do one session on LinkedIn also. You can chat. You can put your, let's say if you want me to do a session on LinkedIn also, put that in the chat. We'll pick that up on priority. Your GitHub profile. Now GitHub profile is also very important. So this is something that I used to do. I know that somebody will click upon here, right? What I used to do, same project, I will just push some comments every 3-4 days. Then let's say reduce some comments every 3-4 days. So when somebody visits my GitHub profile, they see the 365 days calendar and see a lot of green, that this person is very active on GitHub, regularly pushing codes, gives a positive signal that apart from your college, you are focusing upon projects. Then obviously your lead code and your portfolio, let's say if you have a portfolio website. Crazy. This is pretty good. Has mentioned that when I look at the resume, I should figure out that, okay, this is the skill that the user is trying to portray. That let's say somebody could be interested in data analytics, machine learning, or Power BI, Tableau, right? So if they mention a lot of that here, then I understand that I need to ask a lot of questions about that particular domain. Here, this person has mentioned about web development, so have mentioned TypeScript, ES6, SQL, HTML5, React, Redux, Tailwind, PWA. PWA is Progressive Web Apps, Express, Mongo, Bootstrap, etc. and tools, whatever tools that they know. Please don't write tools mein Microsoft Word, Microsoft Office. Looks like everybody knows it. Looks like you're somebody in 5th, 6th standard and very like mature nahi ho aap. So then they've put in their experience of some internships that you've done. Personally, I'm not a big believer of internships. So whenever I personally hire, and I know a lot of people, whenever they hire, they generally don't care about internships, because we all the person who's also interviewing is also an engineer, right? They've also done engineering. So they know the internship that they've done, they've not learned anything, because practically it's just a piece of paper. Out of the 30 days of your internship, you probably only went 5 days. And in those 5 days also, you didn't do anything. You actually did not even work on the actual code of the company. Wherever you interned, they just told you that, okay, create your own project, whatever the project is, and show me, I will sign once your internship ends, that good project, right? So which is why I am personally not a big fan of internship, but the person has put in internships. What I would rather want is, let's say you've done more certifications. Let's say in your 3 years of college or 4 years of college, each summer or each winter, you've done one certification from, let's say, reputed partners, PrepInsta, Scalar, Upgrad, Great Learning, etc. Right? I would want to see that you've gotten certified. Let's say there was a 300-400 hour course this is where you've gotten your certification. So again, a little more value add on for me than doing internship, but if you've done internship, please make sure that you do mention it. So that's basically the first part. Now, if you look at projects, projects is something that we've already covered. Then your education, how much CGPA you had, then your accomplishments. So you participated in Google Summer of Code, 967 out of 4,375 ranking. You've won some hackathon, you featured twice, you've written some white paper, or you've written some research article posted on some good research website. So, you know, all of this. So this is pretty good. Now, if you look here, again, I just wanted, this is somebody who's done BCom, right? Which is why I was not able to find. But let's say if you look here, academic achievements, because AIR won in this Olympiad, Scholastic Rewards won, marketing mein there, this person has done internship. So this is a good resume overall. So ideally, I would want you to probably take a screenshot of this. Crazy. I hope I can zoom this also a little and should give you a template. Go to Google, search resume template and then edit from there. And let's say crazy again, take a screenshot of this. This is like the best resume ever. This is how the resume would typically look like. This is the full page resume here on the left. Or, you know, this is how it can look. Like boring resume makes you look a little bit professional. What I want you to also do is take a screenshot of this also, because this will give you an idea in terms of what to prepare, how to prepare, in which direction you should. Again, you can make a resume that could be boring looking and serious looking, but you need to have content. So that content idea, what kind of certifications, what kind of things that I should be preparing to put in a resume can get an idea from this. Again, take a screenshot of this. Take a screenshot of this. And then take a screenshot of this. Yeah, so this is also something that we forgot, and let me just spend 2 minutes to cover it. 10 marks and 10 marks. 10 marks for HR to be filled by HR. Other were MR and TR. TR is technical round, MR is managerial round or managerial representative. So fluency, articulation, listening skills, stress management, confidence, culture fit, ambitious. Right. So let's take up some questions. In the meantime, what I'll do is, again, PrepInsta Prime subscription. We've just launched the Gen AI course. In fact, let's go here, and from here, I will explain you a few things. So, obviously, we've just launched this. Where is this? We've just launched the Generative AI course. This is the amazing, crazy course that you will learn a lot many good things upon. So I recommend, again, you don't have to specifically just get PrepInsta Gen AI course. If you take PrepInsta Prime subscription, you get access to all the 200 plus courses, including Gen AI and let's say data science, an amazing project. So for example, let's say the data science course is something that I personally myself have created. So I would want you to probably, okay. So I'm probably logged in, so I can't visit that particular page, but there are good projects here. So I'll have to log in, open up my OTP, etc. Right. So let's go back to the slide. This is how the course would look like. In fact, let me just play 1 or 2 videos as a demo video, and then I'll be answering questions. Right. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. Hello. Sir, what about professional certificate from Google, AWS, Microsoft for ML, AI, Gen AI? They are more valuable from Scalar and Upgrade. Well, it depends. People also know, so for example, let's say on Google website, I know there's a 4-hour course that you can get certified in and you don't learn anything, right? And I know that there's a 200-300 hour course by Google on, let's say, GCP or by AWS. So, but that's paid. 30,000-40,000 rupees is that particular course value. So whenever I look at it, I know, because anybody can give you a certification, right? That certification, what was the course, how many hours were there, how many projects were there. Eventually, even if you've done certification, they will ask you that theory to you've done, great, but what about, let's say, the projects that you've made, right? So they will ask you, okay, show me the project that you've done in that certification, right? Sir, what if I did an internship of 6 months in a good company? Is it valuable? Yeah, but it's definitely valuable, but it's a preference. I would generally prefer a certification a little more than an internship, but if you've done an internship, doesn't matter if it's a good company or a bad company, but have they allowed you to work upon their code? Were you allowed to, let's say, uh, develop something for the company, or you were just doing one project that somebody signed upon, right? Sir, PrepInsta certificate will be enough for certification part? Yeah, more than enough. Obviously, we are partnered with more than 400, 500 plus companies, right? So this is again more than enough for it. So that's pretty much it, I guess. Let me just go back, and so again you can get PrepInsta Prime subscription. This is how it looks. As you can see, pretty crazy. And use the coupon code Atulya20 and you will get 20% off here, right? 150 not out enough for product based companies or not? Shukla sir keeps talking about it. Yeah, 150 not out is actually very good, but I would suggest, so if you're newbie to coding, that you don't know coding, first of all learn basics of C, C++, Java, Python, which is something that you can probably, let's say, learn from if you have PrepInsta Prime subscription. So in that case, I would recommend you to first complete this course, that is C, if you are doing in C, or C++, Java, Python, whichever you are doing, and then go ahead with basic intermediate coding, then DSA, then competitive coding, right? So ideally this is something that you follow, but let's say 150 not out is basically, ideally I would say first complete top 100 codes, or become not complete, maybe let's say even if you're doing 50% and skipping, that's totally fine. 150 not out ka purpose is, and let me just refresh this page, that you're already prepared and you just want to practice a lot, or you want to learn a little bit of DSA and competitive coding a little more. So this is where you go ahead with 150 plus codes, and we worked really hard upon it. So ideally this should be a good thing that you should do. So 150 not out and PrepInsta top 100 code, crazy. Then I would also recommend for you to follow PrepInsta on Instagram. So PrepInsta, or in fact let's go from here, no. So go to prepare, go to off campus, then click upon Instagram, then click upon, let's say, 2027, or let me just go back, because you guys would be 2026 pass out mostly, or 25 pass out. So go to, okay, Anna, please fix this. There's an ad that's coming. But go to PrepInsta 2026, your hirings of different companies, etc. would be posted here. For example, GE Vernova is hiring, Harman is hiring, etc. So make sure that you follow us on all the Instagram pages and WhatsApp. This is where, in fact, we have a dedicated page for here. The links are already given in the description of the video. Which has more impact, certificate or hackathon winning, or my projects are more valuable? See, hackathon winning is actually good, but at the very end of the day, I will still look at, so let's say you did not win any hackathon, example, but when I look at your coding skills, when I look at your projects, I will make my decision based upon that. Even if you won any hackathon, good signal, but still look at projects and certifications. So hackathon, if you won, it will give me a good idea that, okay, I should expect good projects from you, right? Sir, what if I learn Java without C++? That's fine, right? I recommend learning one procedural language like C and one object-oriented language like C++, Java or Python, any one of those. Sir, I'm a 2026 graduate using PrepInsta Prime. What steps should I take for my placement prep after my exam for June? Okay, so I hope super are gaming. I hope that you are not gaming. and during your summer vacations you actually focus upon here, because again most of the high paying companies will be announcing their off campus hiring just next month, right? So very important for you to start your placement preparation right now. So I already did make a video about how do you start your placement preparation, so ideally you can watch that. But just to give you an order of learning, first complete your aptitude. So aptitude is the first part. So if you have Prime subscription, which you say that you're having, so complete this particular, all of these courses. Then step 2, ideally I would say learn languages, C, C++, Java, Python, so all of these. So this is your step 2. Then your step 3 is to complete basic coding, intermediate coding. Once you are done with that, ideally I would say do data structures, and so let's say on your, let's say if you're preparing for 8 to 10 hours every day or for your placement preparation, if you're preparing less than that, then you're not actually serious for job, right? Or you're already prepared, you have everything crazy, you are data science expert, data structures expert, or competitive coding expert. But let's say if you're not, once you've done all of this 8 to 9 hours every day, after that you go ahead with data structures, pick up data structures 50% of the day, and 50% of the day whichever certification or skill that you are trying to do. It could be Gen AI, data science, data analytics, AI, AWS, QA, Selenium, ethical hacking, Power BI, cloud, cybersecurity, NLP. You know, the list is long, so whatever you want to do. So basically go ahead and do this. Once you're done with that, then only you move ahead with competitive programming. And then once you're finally even done with that, then there's only practice. You go ahead and then finally do lead code. What people do is they start doing lead code immediately, but first you should complete all of this, become good at theory, become good at coding, and then go ahead and practice on lead code. Or then go ahead and practice previous year questions of different companies. So for example, let's say you're preparing for TCS or Tres Vista, ADP, Zoho, Google, Microsoft, Goldman Sachs, etc. Then go ahead and do all of this. Then let's say once you're done with this, then you go ahead and finally, obviously computer science subject is something that you have to also accommodate. At least DBMS, so 100% for sure. And then whenever you have an HR round, you know, do all of this. So thank you pretty much about it. Thank you so much, and make sure that you use the coupon code. One second, I don't even remember my coupon code. So I guess it's Atulya or Atulya 20. No, it's Atulya only, and you get 20% off, and you call on this number if you have any questions. And if you have any questions, we also always reply to our Instagram DMs. So make sure that you text us here or whichever Instagram that you're following, you will get a reply ASAP. So all the very best. Sir, do a collab with Shukla sir. Okay, I would. Thank you guys. Bye bye.